Hi everyone, my name is Robbie McCarthy and I'm the General Manager of Advicenne Inc. in the United States. Today in our virtual booth, I'd like to talk to you about our relaunch of the ARENA 2 study. So to do that, I'm going to share my screen with you and then we will have some slides to help our conversation. So as you can see, ARENA 2 is a pivotal phase 3 study comparing 7103 to placebo, looking at the efficacy and safety of the agent in controlling metabolic acidosis in patients who have primary DRTA. On completion of the phase 3 study, subjects will have the option of entering the long-term safety extension. This is taking place in both the USA and Canada and lasts approximately 12 weeks. We redesigned ARENA 2 as a decentralized clinical study, enabling access to the study via the virtual study platform from anywhere in North America. And I'm going to provide more detail on this as we go through the presentation. On the right, you can see the basic inclusion and exclusion criteria. We're happy to share the full protocol for those of you who have potential patients, and you can contact us via the ARENA2 info@advicenne.com email. You'll see that at the bottom of every slide. So here's the overview of the study design. Patients enroll and screen and then move into an open label period. Advicenne 7103 is titrated up to a stable dose. And after a period on stable dose, subjects are randomized to active or placebo arms for the 6-day withdrawal period, where their serum bicarb and potassium levels are measured daily. 2 measurements of serum bicarb below the threshold in a 2 to 4 hour period, and the subject moves to study completion period and reinstatement either on their standard of care or onto ADV 7103 if they wish to continue into the long-term extension. So ADV 7103 is a new investigational alkalinizing agent combining potassium citrate and potassium bicarbonate. The graph on your right shows the control of urine pH over a 24-hour period, where urine pH remained above 7 even 12 hours after administration. In terms of presentation, the microgranule formulation is presented in a sachet or package, you may say, in doses of 8 milliequivalents or 24 milliequivalents. And if you look at the images of the teaspoons, you can see the dose volume for each of those doses. Results from the completed European study show higher bicarb levels maintained versus standard of care and with less variability. We also now have over 5 years of long-term experience and a recent positive opinion from the CHMP. And again, if you would like the key paper, key publication, we're happy to share this. Just email us at the address on the slide. The EU study did not contain a placebo arm. The data on patients on ADV indicated there was an increase in serum bicarb levels, increased time in the normal range, equivalent plasma potassium levels, less risk of stone formation, greater palatability, and fewer daily intakes and fewer GI tolerability issues than standard of care. I'm going to move to talk a little bit more about the revised structure of the ARENA 2 study now as a decentralized clinical trial, or DCT. The study is now designed to enable access to patients with this rare disease from across North America and to attempt to COVID-proof the program. With the virtual study platform, patients can e-consent, they can complete all of their PROs electronically, they can have their telemedicine visits, home nursing is provided, home drug supply is provided, and therefore, theoretically, a patient could go through the study without leaving home. The platform is tried and tested in the US and beyond and is fully compliant with all the regulatory bodies, and utilizing this platform enables PIs to track pretty much in real time the data from their patients, subjects in the study. Now I want to move to outline the ways in which you as physicians can become involved in the study and outline the various patient pathways. Under this model, there are 2 types of sites. There's the traditional site. I'm sure as a research nephrologist, you'll be very familiar with the traditional model of setting up a research site. The Metasite is slightly different. That's run by our partner, Science 37, our DCT platform partner. In a situation where a physician, for example, has a patient but not a research office, or only one patient and doesn't consider that would really justify the full site setup, they can enter the study as a Metasite PI and be supported by the Metasite team. So let's unpack that a little bit more. So on the one hand, you have your site-based approach. So we do have sites already set up in the US. You have a site principal investigator, you have a site study coordinator, you have a site IRB. And sometimes that site IRB is also a central IRB like WIRB. In that scenario, because of the virtual platform, the patient can attend purely as an outpatient. All PI visits could be in person, all labs and tests done on site. They can also attend using the home-based nursing service, so all PI visits could be undertaken via telemedicine, all labs and tests via the home nursing service. What we think will probably happen for many patients is that they'll want a hybrid of the two, and that is definitely possible. A mix of in-person and home nursing and telemedicine, and all of this will be detailed in each subject's patient pathway plan. Now, in the Metasite model or the virtual model, you have a Metasite PI, and that could be any nephrologist with a patient who in their care who has DRTA, but maybe not access to a full research group. A Metasite WIRB, so the IRB used by Science 37 is WIRB, and they also provide a Metasite study coordinator to manage all of this. So you can see in a Metasite-based model, the structure of a bricks and mortar site is kind of replicated. The physician is trained as a Metasite PI, it takes about 3 to 4 hours. The Metasite provide all the regulatory and all of the study coordinator support. So this enables access to a physician with a patient, but maybe not in an institution with a research capability or in such an institution, but where setting up the full study site mechanics doesn't make sense for a full patient. So what's the patient pathway in that model? Well, ostensibly it can be pretty much the same. You still have a real PI, you still have a real patient, so you can have that in-person contact between the two in an outpatient clinic setting. You rely on the home-based services because they're supplied via the platform, but you can have a hybrid of the two. The home-based procedures and support. So let's touch on that a little bit more. And bear in mind that each subject's pathway will be customized to the preferred mix of in-person and at-home procedures. With the new DCT platform, we can ship drug direct to home. We can use the telemedicine platform to enable remote visits with subjects, and where required, remote visits with the subject and the nurse present to provide a PI, kind of the hands in the room and the hands on the ground to take a patient through certain procedures, for example. The Metasite study team will coordinate all home nursing and telemedicine visits for you. And additionally, the Arena 2 patient navigator on the left will provide direct support to patients and their families. Think of this role rather like a study educator and a study social worker combined. Let's look a little more at that role. Why do we feel the need for a dedicated patient navigator? Well, DCTs are by definition more patient-centered, right, than the traditional study designs, and certainly more operational in these COVID challenge times. However, our research has shown that in all study designs, including DCTs, patients can feel confused, lost, unsafe. We are striking new ground here, and the patient wouldn't be coming into a center every time. So how can we help and make sure that patients have a positive experience and stay the course through the clinical study? So that's why we decided to develop the role of the patient navigator. And this role provides education on the disease, what it is to be in a clinical study, the actual Arena 2 study itself, and other kind of areas that are being developed as we speak. There's also development of the personal patient pathway plan. So that would be done hand in hand with the study coordinator if it's a site-based patient. It's a single person to reach out to with questions, somebody who's available outside of office hours, someone who provides advocacy and insight into the challenges of virtual studies, helping us address issues before they arise. So with that, I'd like to thank you. To learn more about participating in Arena 2, just please email us at arena2info.com and we can provide you with any follow-up. Happy to present to departments, happy to explain and have one-to-ones with you and the team or whatever we need to do in order to enable access to what I think is a really exciting program for patients with primary DRTA. Thank you.